Hi, my name's Emily, and with me I have a juvenile spotted python. Spotted pythons are also known as eastern blotched pythons, and is the largest and best known of the children pythons group, but is one of the shortest of the python species, growing to only a metre long, but in some extreme cases they can reach 1.5 metres. Its spots are really large blotches with dark brown on a light brown background. Sometimes the spots can join together to form stripes, normally near their head and their tail. Due to their lack of venom, their short length and docile nature, spotted pythons are often kept as pets and amenable to handling and rarely present any keeping problems when properly maintained. Some juveniles can be a bit snappy. However, in most cases, they make an ideal pet for first-time buyers and anyone looking to enter into the reptile world. Once they reach maturity, they are good handlers, feed regularly, and easy to breed. The only real downside is in adolescence they can often be quite snappy and aggressive. They seem to settle down in time, but the interim period can be quite frustrating to those in the new world. Spotted pythons are found in the northeast to the eastern coast of Australia, from Cape York in Queensland to the northern New South Wales. They favour wet forests and dry woodlands, riverbanks and areas of rocks, and particularly caves to home bats. When spotted pythons are young, they mainly feed on small lizards, but as they age, they feed on bats and other small mammals, plus reptiles and even some birds. Spotted pythons are nocturnal hunters, but as with all pythons, they constrict their prey to kill them and eat them. The term python means non-venomous, and they use constriction. A cool fact about these guys is that the snakes are famous for the unusual method of catching one of their favourite foods, insectivorous bats. Spotted pythons hang upside down from the entrance of caves, using their tails to hold onto the rocks while their body is free. When they use a tiny bat to fly out of the cave, the snakes grab them mid-air and eat them right as they're still hanging there. If spotted pythons are feeding a correct amount of food, they will shed every 6 to 8 weeks approximately when young, and every 8 to 10 weeks approximately when mature. The shedding process usually goes for 9 days, but is affected by temperature when prolonged lower temperatures exceeding the time between sheds and then the time taken to shed. The shedding process is as follows. Under the tail is a milky snake refuses food. Usually the underbody and tails are milky. The eyes are milky and look as if they have cataracts, and they're a nice kind of grey-bluey colour. The eyes are still milky the following couple of days, and the skin's darker and wrinkly. Snakes will usually seek out humidity. When they're going to shed, it's what a term we like to use called blue. So we like to put them on hold, let them shed and take their time, and their eyes will go a glassy kind of colour. Their eyes are clear and their body is wrinkly sometimes, and the snake is usually cranky. It will rub its nose on something abrasive like a rock. The skin will peel back and he'll wriggle out with slow undulations of the body. The monocle over the eyes and the nostrils will be shed at this time as well. Sometimes the hemipenis, the two penises of the male, will be shed also. The snake in shed will also be reluctant to feed, and it is also best not to even try until the second or third day after the shed has occurred. It's also best to let them to shed by themselves until they're done, as not to make them aggressive. Females are really cool, as they lay on an average of 10 eggs per clutch, which is incubate by coiling around them and shivering to increase the temperature. After about 80 days, the young tear open their leathery shells and then wait, sometimes up to 2 days. But for all the young are ready, they leave the nest to en masse in the same time, and is quite a sight. Spotted pythons are amazing animals to watch. Their movements are graceful and fluent, and they use their bodies to hold on to things while they reach and stretch for the next foothold, as they usually grab hold of with their neck. They should not be extended to hold on to large branches or other non-natural furnishings. Remember, rocky outcrops, logs, and no large trees. With the exception of the female python that is delivering eggs, the belly of the snake, the ventricle scales, should be downward using touching the grass or rock, etc. In the back of the snake, the dorsal scales should be shown upwards, showing off to the world. Snakes will flick their tongue out quite regularly, especially in the place of their cage. Flicking the tongue is their way of collecting the scent molecules, and so tasting the air. The tongue should come out and flick up and down, almost too fast to see. It should be forked and a bluish in colour, except for albino animals. If this is not the case, your python should seek a vet immediately. Sub-adult to adult pythons would love to go outside in the sun, exploring the grass through the garden, but always watch your animal very carefully. You may find your snake loves a certain spot or a certain grass type, even getting under the sprinkler to get wet. All of these activities are fine provided no chemicals are being sprayed around the area or garden and no predators are nearby. Yes, your little dog is a predator. We also suggest that you go and get your animal checked by a qualified vet every year to keep them nice and healthy and make sure nothing is wrong with them. When holding them, you should always make sure that you've got them held within 2 different spots to support their body weight, because if you hold it in one spot, you risk the fact of possibly breaking ribs and doing irreversible damage. While these guys are quite lovely, sometimes snakes aren't for everyone, but we do hope that you guys have enjoyed this and that you guys think about getting a snake. Thank you.